Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is aircraft woman Nakia Dunn. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please sit if you can do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Gunner William Mervyn Lecky. William Lecky was born on the 7th of April in 1895 in Berwick, Victoria, the son of horse breeder James Lecky and his wife Maggie. William had one older brother and two sisters and received his education at Melbourne's Scotch College. He served in the senior cadets during his youth and was working as a grazier at the outbreak of the war in 1914. William Lecky enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 15th of June in 1915. He was assigned to the 4th Field Artillery Brigade as a gunner and embarked from Melbourne on board the troop ship Wiltshire in November that year. Lecky reached Egypt in December 1915, and having missed the Gallipoli campaign, spent several months in training. In March 1916, Lecky arrived in France and joined his unit at Armentières, an area dubbed the Nursery Sector, where newly arrived units were introduced to fighting on the Western Front. Just 3 months later, Lecky took part in his first major offensive at Pozieres during the Battle of Somme. The artillery fire concentrated on that section of the front razed entire villages to the ground, and Allied artillery brigades were in constant engagement with the enemy. After Pozieres, Lecky's brigade was moved briefly to the Belgian front, around Ypres, before returning to Somme. Lecky was joined in November by his older brother James, who enlisted in the 8th Field Artillery Brigade. In early 1917, Lecky's brigade fought during the German retreat to the Hindenburg Line. In June, the brigade was moved back to Belgium, working in support of Allied attacks at Mezen, Polygon Wood, and Passchendaele, where they suffered high casualties. In November 1917, Lecky was sent to the Divisional Signal School, where he underwent a 3-week course and graduated as a qualified signaller. In August 1918, Lecky was recommended for the Military Medal for his actions at Heronville, where he and his comrades worked under dangerous conditions to maintain lines of communication and enable them to send and receive information of tactical importance. The recommendation notes that during the day, these men worked under great difficulty from the forward operating station to the relay post under heavy shell fire, and only due to an utter disregard for personal safety succeeded in maintaining the line. Just 5 days later, on the 1st of September, Lecky was involved in the Allied advance at Mont Saint-Quentin. He and his comrades went out to repair cut communication lines when Lecky and several others were hit and killed by a shell. In a report of his death given to the Red Cross, a comrade noted that Lecky was well liked and esteemed by other members of the battery. At home in Australia, Lecky's parents received the news that their son had been killed in action during the advance on Mont Saint-Quentin, just months from the war's end. After armistice was declared in November, Mr. and Mrs. Lecky received the news that William's brother, James, had succumbed to wounds received in action and had died at the 10th General Hospital in Rouen, France. William Lecky was buried at Péronne Communal Cemetery beneath the inscription selected by his parents, "Greater love hath no man than this." He was 23 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Gunner William Mervyn Lecky, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They grow not old, as we who are left shall grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them,
We'll remember them. Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening.